Hi, welcome and thank you so much for being with us here today. Can you tell us about yourself and your expertise?
Yeah, hi, thanks for having me. My name is Melissa Beresford, and I am an economic anthropologist. I'm an assistant professor at San Jose State University in California. And I have a lot of fieldwork experience, on the ground fieldwork experience, working on water systems in Bolivia, in South Africa, and in the United States, specifically in Arizona and in California.
Thank you. Can you explain how communities can self-regulate or self-monitor to support informal water vending as a solution to water insecurity?
Sure. I think that a key thing to know about informal water vending, and when we're talking about informal water vending, we're talking about people who are selling water door to door. And a key thing to know about that is that first, the price of water is almost always more expensive when you are going to be hauling it and selling it door to door than delivered through a municipal tap. And second, the presence and the availability of water vendors in the community to sell water is often unpredictable. And both of these things can cause a lot of stress for people who need to buy water for their families to drink, but also to bathe their kids, to clean their house. And so research that I've done with colleagues in Bolivia has shown that one of the major ways that communities can work to alleviate these stressors that are kind of inevitable to informal water vending is to organize water vendors into unions, to promote water vending unions, which promotes communication among vendors. And when vendors are communicating with one another, we found that they're able to work together to help to keep their prices low and affordable for community members. They're able to work better to organize their schedules to make sure that there's consistent presence in communities, and also even to work on issues to help ensure that quality standards are communicated to people so that they know that they're buying safe water.
Thank you. How can water managers support informal water vending that best promotes good water practices in communities?
Yeah, I think that first and foremost, water managers can work with communities and municipal governments to help build and support water vendor unions. I think that that's a really key lesson that's come out of the research that my colleagues and I have done. But second, and I think this part is key, is to promote opportunities for water vendor unions to communicate and have dialogues with community members. We found in Bolivia, for example, that oftentimes water vendors would be working really hard and closely together to help make sure that their prices were low and to organize their delivery schedules. But the clients that they were serving were completely unaware of these efforts that they were making. And so I think that promoting those opportunities for community dialogue between vendors and clients can help to ensure that people are seen, voicing their concerns and forming delivery systems that feel more fair and equitable to everybody.
Thank you. What are some pitfalls or areas of caution that you would highlight for water managers looking to support informal water vending in the communities they serve?
Sure. I want to make two key points here. So first, I want to emphasize that informal water vending really needs to be viewed as a stopgap measure and not as a permanent solution. And so I want to make two key points that relates to this. First is that as it relates to the costs, economic analysis indicates that hauled water, whether it's sold in trucks or carts or other mobile means, is likely to always be more expensive than water delivered via a larger piped water system. And second, regardless of how much water vendors are working within their communities to communicate with them and ensure just and fair prices, purchasing water on a daily or a weekly basis is likely always to be more stressful for families and households than just being able to turn on a tap and get the water that you need. So I think that it's really important to look at informal water vending as a viable and a potentially really important short-term solution for communities and water managers to mobilize while they're working on longer term, more expensive, more time-intensive solutions. So this is really key, especially in places not only like Bolivia and countries where you have entire communities that are disconnected from municipal water networks, but even in places like the United States and California and Arizona, where you have areas of cities that might have contaminated water, or rural areas where cities are actively working on improving their infrastructure or expanding their infrastructure to reach communities.
Thank you so much, Dr. Beresford, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.